Hi, everyone.
Hi. You already did this.
Oh, yeah. Wrong presentation. Oh, my God. Now what? So it's after lunch. No sleeping. So last year, this was the topic, measuring love in systems. I said, what should I do this year, Suraj, when he asked me to present? He said, why don't you talk about fear in systems? I said, okay. So there's my cover slide. And so then I told him, look, if we're going to talk about fear in systems, we really need to get into some fear. And I don't know if this 18-minute format's going to work for me if we're going to really dive in and talk about fear. So can I get more time? What do you think he said?
No, I said yes. I said 18
Now
minutes,
you tell
1
me.
second.
All right. So anyway, yeah, here we go. We're going to talk about measuring fears and gap analysis ×2. Barry touched on this a little bit, but we're going to dive into it a little deeper. I'm feeling oddly fearful right now for some reason. Gee, I wonder if it has anything to do with my mentor sitting in the front row. Oh my God. All right, I'll deal with it. So, I wanted to start out with a question. How is it that despite our best intentions, we undermine the very transformation we seek to promote as change agents? How does that happen? It happens. How does it happen? So I thought we would look at that, and I'm just going to take a gander here that in this tension between continuity and transformation, this might be a group that kind of hangs out on the transformation pole. Am I right? Am I right? Okay. So, I mean, it's okay to have preferences. We all have them. And that's something we need to be aware of as change agents. So we're going to look at that. We're going to kind of break it down a little bit. We're going to look at continuity and transformation as a polarity, because when we go into systems and they see us coming, they know right out of the gate that we're hanging on to this pole of transformation. And so other people are coming in with other lenses, okay? And they may be hanging on to the other pole, like continuity. So when they see us coming, they're kind of like, and what do you do about that? Well, okay, we're gonna look at that, because everyone's coming in with different lenses. They're looking at different flavors. There are different roles, different parts of the organization. They've got different frames on this tension, and we're a part of it as we come in. So as we look at these key stakeholders, and we come in with all these different lenses that we come in, our systems thinking lenses, we've got models and tools, and we've got shit for everything, right? We're just going to focus on one today, and we're going to turn the systems thinking tool of polarity thinking inward on ourselves, and we're going to see, map, and assess fears in a common tension that all of us encounter every single time we go into a change effort. So, the polarity is continuity and transformation. No secret there. Now, we are not married, when we build a polarity map, by the way, we're not married to the pole names per se. So you might not really like the term transformation, just doesn't work for you. So I would invite you to choose another term. Maybe you don't like continuity. That just seems a little weird. Change might work for you. Don't really care from where I'm standing. The point is that the rule with this map that we're going to use right now is both pole names need to be neutral, both neutral, or both positive. You're going to have a lot of trouble populating the polarity map if you've got something that is perceived as negative. So there's a kind of a skill around naming the poles that we don't have time to go into right now. What I'm going to ask you to do is pull out your polarity map. Everyone should have one on your table. And I'm going to ask you to choose your pole names. And if you just want to keep it simple, for me, as a gift, and just use continuity and transformation, that'd be great. but I'm not going to force anybody into it. So let's make it really clear what we're doing here. You're pulling out the map that says polarity map on the top, not assessing map. It's polarity map. That's sitting right in front of you. And what you're going to do is you're going to write the word continuity or whatever in the left pole and transformation in the right pole. Now the poles are these ellipses. I was doing this, I was having some people populate a polarity map at the Leading to Wellbeing conference last week. And I was walking around looking at people, and one woman had continuity in the top left corner of the polarity map, and then transformation in the top right corner. And I said, why didn't you put it in the pole names? And she said, I didn't want to ruin my map. I said, I'll give you another map. Put it in the pole thing. So then I walked over to another guy and I said, why do you have the pole names on those outside lines on the very edge of the page? And he said, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Get it in there. So, then someone else said, well, when they had it in the boxes up there, I said, why'd you put that? And he said, well, it's just more room there. And I said, well, write smaller. I was like, geez. So I don't care if you have to write in a 2-point font or whatever you need to do. Put the names right in the ellipses right there. And once does everyone have that? Oh, I can shut up. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to walk through this process quadrant by quadrant, all right? And I'm going to do this really fast, so hang with me. On your mark, get set, go. What are 2 to 3 positive results of focusing on transformation in a system? This one should be easy, so I'm going to give you about 10 seconds. First 3 things that come into your mind. Knee-jerk reaction. When I focus on transformation or change in a system, what does it give me? What does it give my clients? What does it give the system? What are the benefits that accrue from that focus? Top 3 things. So what I'm going to do for each of these is I'm just going to share with you a couple of things that I might put in there or someone else might put in there. Maybe you have something similar, maybe not. Maybe you like these. You can go ahead and use them too. Now, on to the next one. When you go over to this other pole of continuity, what are 2 to 3 positive results from focusing on continuity in a system? You're coming in as a change agent. When you focus on continuity, what does it give you? What are some benefits of the continuity pole? Okay, time's up. Here's a couple things that came up for me. All right, here's where it gets interesting, because this is about fears, right? What are 2 to 3 negative results? I want you to pay really close attention to the language right here. This is also in the bottom of the map. If you look on the very bottom of the left quadrant, bottom left quadrant, this language is repeated there. What are 2 to 3 negative results from too much focus on continuity without transformation in a system? What happens? What happens to that system? First things that come to mind. Okay, I said negative effects of status quo, loss of energy, missed opportunities. Last quadrant, here's where it gets fun. What are 2 to 3 negative results from too much transformation without continuity in a system? Your transformation, your change, no continuity. What's starting to happen now? Okay, so I said lose continuity, lose core values, foolish risk. So now what we have is we've gone through 2 of the steps of the small process, seeing and mapping. what we did is we looked at continuity and transformation as a polarity, not as a problem to solve, and we mapped the upsides and downsides to see a more complete picture of the tension. Now, one thing I'd like to just kind of ask you, when you look at both upside, all the content in both upsides, what does it contribute to when you're getting all of those things? I said we all thrive sustainably, but that may not resonate with you. So when you look at all that content in those upper two quadrants, and you're saying, okay, if I had all that, what would it give me? Go ahead and put that in that greater purpose statement that's at the very top. The other thing I want you to do is think about when you have all those things at the bottom, over time, what does that contribute to? It's probably the opposite of your greater purpose. Just a guess, but populate that too. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how well or poorly you leverage this tension. So we got to move fast here. If Suraj had given me a decent amount of time for this presentation, I would have conducted a real-time survey where you all would have answered 12 questions, and we would have had real results here about how this system leverages continuity and transformation, but we couldn't do that. But maybe we can do it next time. So these are just results from a group I did this with last week. So what we're going to do, since we're not going to actually do it in real time, as a group, we're going to look at it individually. So now take out your assessment map. And what I'd like you to do is notice how each one of those quadrants has a little rating scale. I want you to look at the content in each of the upsides and downsides and rate yourself. How often do I get those things in that quadrant? Is it almost always? Is it almost never? Is it somewhere in between, like sometimes? And just give yourself a rating. And the way you're going to do that is you're basically going to just put an X over the particular dot that you experience yourself getting those things. Like here it would be almost never, I'm almost never getting the upsides of continuity, but I'm almost never getting the downsides. But I almost always get the upsides of transformation, and I sometimes get the downsides of transformation. So then when I draw the infinity loop, and the way you draw the infinity loop is you go around the ellipse and then up through the middle, and then you go around the other ellipse, and then you go up through the middle. You cross over the and. So when you look at your particular infinity loop compared to the default infinity loop that's superimposed in the map, you can see how well or poorly you leverage both upsides of continuity and transformation. So your excuse me, your rating could look very different depending on your experience here. One thing I just want to point out, because we got to come in for a landing here in the next 5 minutes, I'm getting the word from up front. One myth of polarity thinking is that it's about, the goal is balance. It's not. It's not just about balance. Balance is good if you are in a vicious cycle, because balance is an improvement. But balance on a polarity is sort of sometimes I get these upsides, sometimes I get these upsides, sometimes I get these upsides, downsides, sometimes I get these downsides. It's very sort of mediocre kind of, so see average performance. So what we're looking for with polarities is leverage. This is more love in systems. There's just a more loving culture. It's a more loving approach to your consultant, your clients as a consultant. Hopefully that wasn't me. We're going to now just very quickly explore ways to use fear. So you've heard the statement, any strength taken to an extreme can become a weakness. Well, if we hang out on the transformation pole too long, too much, without attention to stability or continuity, what happens is we get the downside. Because we love the upsides of transformation, we tend to over-tolerate those downsides. Now, the same thing happens with the people holding on to the continuity pole. They love continuity, and they're willing to over-tolerate the downsides of too much continuity. See how that works? Any strength taken to an extreme becomes a weakness. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This is the fears. This is how we use fears. if you hang out or your client hangs out on the continuity pole, it's because they love continuity and they fear the downside of too much transformation. I want you to look at that loop, that arrow. Look which way the energy is going. It's going away from their fear that they never want to tolerate. It's going towards what they love, and they're willing to over-tolerate the downside of their overemphasized pole. So this is how we get hooked and stuck in these tensions. This is how it works for the continuity pole. Here's how it works for us. Oh, there's the fears, by the way. For transformation, we fear the negative results of too much continuity. Notice which way the energy is going here. It's going away from those downsides, and it's going to the benefits of the transformation. Pretty good stuff there, right? And if we tolerate that upside, we can end up in the downside we don't want to achieve as change agents. And so we can get stuck the same way. So that's the fears for us. So it's important for us as change agents to realize that if we're going to be great change agents, we also have to be great stability and continuity agents at the same time. So we have to see a more complete picture, and the way we do that is by paying attention to the fears, values and fears of those who we're working with, be aware of our own values and fears that we're coming in with, and be aware of the greater purpose that unites both. So my call to action for everybody here, as we sort of come in for a landing on the small process, we've looked at seeing, mapping, assessing. We've hopefully learned a little bit from it, but we haven't done the leveraging. So you'll notice on the outside of your original polarity map, there's action steps and early warning signs. So I'd like for you, for the rest of this conference, to look for and document action steps that empower one or both of these upsides. What can you appreciate and celebrate about what you're already doing here? What new actions will supplement and enhance future performance of this polarity? And also think about high leverage action steps, because sometimes what you can identify is a single action or two that you can do that actually works for both poles. And that is working smarter and not harder. And then also look for and document measurable early warning signs that tell you as early as possible when you're starting to dip down into the downsides of one pole or the other as early as possible. That's one of the hardest things on a polarity map to do, is identify really good quality early warning signs. So what you're trying to do is stay out of the downsides, stay up into the upsides to achieve leverage. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you. Where's Bob? Bob, come on over here, Bob. So what do I say about Bob? If this is the house of enlightenment, then right here? If this is the house of enlightenment, okay. Bob is the love seat on the front porch with the cooler of beer sitting next to him. So,
but can I have the clicker?
Sure, it's all yours. Have fun. Good luck.
Thank you.